That was me.
Yep.
Okay.
So the other name
Grab
is
it.
stoloniferous octocoral.
Good to
I
know.
guess that base part is all connected.
But a stole is also a neck wrap.
Maybe
There
that's,
you go. There's your boa.
There's my ear. Maybe that could be the yeah, that could be the origin of it. I didn't want to go with boaniferous.
Is that a sea spider in front of us, or no, just a
Quick zoom on that guy, Steve.
it's not a spider, so Dan will zoom in on it. So that is a Brisingid sea star. It's a type of sea star.
Zoom in just a bit more now. Good, thanks.
I thought I had all my brittle stars, sea stars, Brisingids, and basket stars all lined up, but then I was corrected. There's a lot of reorganization in that of those species about what's what. Maybe you could speak to that if you.
Okay, thanks.
I don't have the answer to that. I always rely on Christopher Moss at the Smithsonian, but the taxonomy is always undergoing changes.
Yeah.
I can't keep track.
Me either.
He's got a great blog. It's called the Echino blog. If you're interested in all things that are sea stars.
Echino blog.
Puts out almost every day. Echino blog. Yeah, these are echinoderms.
It's a listserv that'll just prove my nerdiness even more.
Okay, so I looked up stoloniferous, and the root of it is stolon, which is a horizontal branch from the base of a plant that produces new plants from buds at its tips or nodes. So it's not feather boa like. It's not at all related to that, of course, but that is the root of the stoloniferous.
I wonder if that's where the neck covering name came from as well.
Yeah, I'm trying to read into that and make it's not connecting quite the way I would like.
So all the individual polyps along that stolon are all connected by the stolon.
I wonder if that's in the plant world, like how asparagus works.
The example used here are strawberries that have runners, which is a problem in my garden right now. They're all making runners instead of berries.
Putting their energy in the wrong resources, wrong categories.
Yeah, it's the gardener's fault.
Bridge nav. One more step, 100 meters, 060. Thank you.
So I have a question for the folks in the van from one of the folks at our sanctuary at Greater Farallones. What is, we heard that you all will not be on the West Coast, well, the Eastern Pacific. Where are you going to be?
The beginning of next year, oops, sorry, I'm still talking on the bridge, whoops. The beginning of next year, we will still be on the US and Canadian West Coast for a few cruises in spring into summer. And then I think at some point, late summer, the idea is we'll be transiting across the Pacific and going back to Hawaii. Not really sure what cruises are planned there, but I think there may be at least a couple to round out the season, and then I think we'll end up wintering over there, but I'm not positive. But the last time we were out in, let's see, when we first went out in Hawaii in 2018, we worked in Papahanaumokuakea Marine National Monument. So I suspect we may be working there again. It is a very large swath of seafloor. A lot of it is largely unexplored since the expansion in 2012, I believe. 2016, perhaps. A lot of unknowns down there.
So the work on the Pacific coast this next spring and summer, was that work that was planned for this year, spring and summer?
I think a couple of cruises were bumped. And then we do our annual, we often work with Ocean Networks Canada for a cruise, so I suspect we'll be working with them again. And probably a couple others in there. And then the transit out. But I'm not sure specifically which sanctuaries we'll be working with, and which cruises in general.
Well, I was supposed to be on the boat last year and had a family emergency, and then this year pandemic. So I'm really sad 2 years running to not actually get to sail with you all. But this is a great, amazing how smoothly this has worked to have us ashore.
Yeah, well, hopefully next year or in the coming years would be great. Great to come out and sail. Definitely really enjoy and appreciate all the people coming in. It's something that we are, I think, missing is we normally have some people who are more long time on the ship, and but every 2 weeks, 3 weeks is a fresh crop of people, interns, scientists who are really excited about the work, and that keeps us going, certainly. So it's nice to have that kind of new energy on the ship. But it's a necessary limitation, I guess, with the COVID concerns. So.
I know what you mean, having done a lot of boat work and also remote field work. When a helicopter comes in or something, it's like fresh blood, fresh food, fresh people, and stories and mail, and it really reinvigorates.
I've definitely
everything.
had binoculars staring at a snow machine coming in before.
Yeah.
I think we're seeing the slope steepen, which kind of tracks with our map here, and then it'll get down to the base, will be flatter.
the slope changes, but the habitat is remaining remarkably kind of uniform, isn't it?
Yeah. Seems like the same amount of organisms really per square meter. Same types as well.
A few of those yellow sponges in the distance.
It's a really great side view you're giving us here, Dan, on the way down. It's much more exciting than blue water.
Yeah.
Gives you a good
I'm
sense
still
of how
surprised
steep
by
it is
all
too.
this.
Yeah.
I'm still surprised by all this sediment too.
Yeah, on such a steep slope. Are we somehow sheltered from the current? It seems kind of quiet.
It's a good question.
Can't really tell.
Because that would mean the black corals are standing quietly upright.
Bridge nav. One more step, 100 meters, 060. Thank you. I think Argus is getting a bit
Yeah,
close
I
there.
get-
You're going to have to pull up.
14 meters about.
Yeah, I'm just watching the slope come in there too. Pulling away from it, so it's
Yeah,
pretty
I
safe as long as we don't.
Got to stay up a little bit. My
Yeah.
delta.
I don't know if I mentioned this before, but Davidson Seamount was the first feature to be named a seamount in 1938 by the, what are they called? The U.S. Board on Geographic Names, and it was named after the U.S. Coast and Geodetic Survey scientist George Davidson. George Davidson did a lot of cartography off our coast or the whole West Coast. Lots of things are named after him, and this is one of them. But the fact that this is the first seamount ever named is kind of unique. You can only do that once.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
There was a request a few hours ago during the change that if we hit some sediment, that they would like a core. So I don't know if asked or if this is even deep enough to get a core, but we can keep that in our mind if it works out.
Hey, Steve, do you want to put sonar up on channel 3?
Sure.
So you can take a look on shore. We can see in Hercules sonar. You can kind of sense the slopey rocky feature we just left, and then this soft bed of sediment we're traveling across, and then there'll be some more rocks coming up again. But we're in a patch here. If you want us to hold and sediment core, we can do so.
Yeah. Do you think it's soft enough to get like, I don't know, at least 5 inches, maybe more?
Looks like
It would be worth taking it.
What do you think, Dan?
some rocks maybe coming back into view or some.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it tracks
So this
there.
is probably the time to do it.
Yeah, do you want to hold here and try to do it? Or do you want to
Yeah.
wait for the next patch?
Next one.
Next patch.
Okay. Okay, I'll follow your lead.
Sure. Well, as soon as we see the next one, we'll hold up, and there's going to be from what I see on the map, a very large flattish patch. So.
Oh, that's
The,
right. That's before we get to A11.
Right.
The layback would, the Argus would swing right through there before we get a core.
Right.
Okay.
Speaking of Argus, which way are you facing? You're 135 and
135.
060. Okay. Let's keep that in
I'll
mind.
move towards you a bit. You can come around.
Roger. You're gonna lateral down again?
Yeah, looks like it.
Okay.
Things seem to be taller here.
We had a question earlier about whether rocks and minerals were collected from this area, and I answered the rock question in terms of we've been collecting rocks to study the age and the composition of the seamount, but in terms of mineral extraction, research-wise, I don't think we've been doing that, and the Davidson Seamount is located within the Monterey Bay National Marine Sanctuary, and this sanctuary was designated to stop oil drilling off our coast. The community had seen all the oil spills down in Santa Barbara at the time, I think in the 80s or 70s, and they didn't want that to happen up here with all the oil platforms. So the community got together and said, what can we do to stop that? And one of the things was to put a sanctuary off the coast. So the regulations include no oil or mineral or gas extraction. So there is no mineral extraction here, at least for profit. There might be some research, small scale collections, but I don't even think that's been done.
Erica, would this be a good place to do a Niskin water sample? It looks like there's at least 3 species of coral in here.
Yeah, can we just do it on the fly? We don't have to stop.
Yeah, we can.
Thank you.
Have that minute, Jake. Pull on the skin.
Taylor Ann, will this be number 28?
That will be sample number 28.
Yeah, what happened to the bubble camera?
I don't know.
You must have done a preset.
You have the craft power on your.
Yeah, it's on. Just hit the blue button. The blue button should have been on the whole time.
Yeah, it was on. So I turned it off.
I'm going to turn it off.
Yep.
Yeah, it's meant to be on. Just some of the other shifts turn it off.
Looks like the first two are pulled. Is that correct, Taylor?
Yep, so you can go for number 3.
Bridge nav.
Three is the blue one.
Correct.
Let's add a step 100 meters and course 070. Thank you.
I think I got it. 3, 2, 1.
There it goes. It went.
One.
Yep.
Nice.
Nicely done.
What did I do there? Oh, the auto head came up. Oh, when did that happen?
Right there.
What? Is that my head is off?
Is that good?
Yeah.
Am I too far out? Yeah.
Swing it in just a little so it's not hanging out there.
Erica, can you tell us what the water sample we just collected will be used for?
Yeah, so we are collecting water to extract DNA. We call it environmental DNA. And it gives us a chance to see what kind of organisms are in the area by looking at their DNA. Organisms are constantly shedding tissue or skin, not skin, but scales and other body parts into the water
We had
column.
a crash. That's what happened.
Oh,
Oh yeah, all the autos are off.
Yeah.
there. Yeah, there's the 10, 18.
Are the reps
They're
legacy?
all right.
They stay. I don't think I had any, but
Let's come back towards you here.
Of course, we had a crash then.
Sorry, we had a technical glitch with one of our computers, so get back online here.
All right. So with the eDNA, we're able to collect animals in the seawater that we may not otherwise see with the video camera. So it can give us an idea of what we're not seeing, but hopefully we will pick up some of the DNA of the organisms we actually see. So it's sort of a new field, and people are doing it in all different parts of the ocean, near shore, offshore, deep sea. We also might be looking at microplastics in the water. So that's all gets collected with the Niskin bottle.
You want me to hold up here because I think they want a sediment sample anyway.
No, keep going.
Okay.
don't know, might have to stop it up to get turned around here.
Yeah. Bridge nav. Full position. Thank you. Yeah, we're quite laid back. I think 200 meters, 150 meters.
All right.
Are we catching up right now? What are we doing?
Yeah, we're catching up. Just because of that crash we had there. So Argus is in front of Hercules and trying to trail back around, drive back under it, get in front.
Trying to get back in the box.
Yeah.
Out of the box right now.
And we're on kind of the flattish ground before we get to A11. So we'll keep an eye out if there's enough sediment.
Well, in terms of waypoints, we are well ahead of schedule, so there's no rush.
Okay.
Okay, Jake, you can come down a bit.
Coming down.
Thank you.
This marine snow is quite mesmerizing.
It is. Did the craft arm ever stop working when the crash happened?
What's that?
Did the craft ever stop working when that crash happened?
No, it keeps working the whole time.
It does, okay.
Couldn't figure
I
out
didn't
what
notice
was
anything.
happening with our headings, and it says right there that 1042.
Well, it's off by an hour.
That's probably why the Argus auto head just came off. Too.
Yeah, so first I saw Argus's head come around, and then that hasn't happened before, has it?
That does happen.
Does it happen every time?
Because I remember the last time it happened, the auto head came off.
And I thought I was pulling on it somehow for the head to come around. It took me a minute to realize.
I couldn't figure it out.
Wait a minute, my head's starting to drift over.
Yeah.
Everything's out of the box. You're all fired.
All right, here we are. Gonna be flat like this for a bit of it. So I think if whenever you're comfortable and when we think Argus is still gonna.
Yeah, whenever we pendulum in, then we'll let Jake play around in the mud with the manipulating.
Oh, fun.
That'll be fun.
Yeah.
Probably 20 meters, that's good altitude there. Unless it keeps going down.
Quite a disturbance.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Wonder if that's.
meteorite landing.
What is that? It's very deep for those. What are
Giant footprints.
those whales that come down and. Do they come down?
Well,
this
funny that you mentioned that. I don't know if they come down this far, but we found pits like this at Sur Ridge in March, and I'm trying to think of the whale that does this. They will come down.
whale?
Gray.
Yeah, beaked whales will come down searching for prey, and then they'll bump into the seafloor. I don't know if that's what these are. These don't look the same shape.
They are.
Well, no, there's like a trench. There is like a
Yeah.
trench there, so that's very possible that they'll come down chasing prey, and then they'll hit the seafloor and catch it.
Huh.
Good eye. So there might have been a couple here.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think they go in patterns like bonk, bonk, bonk.
Yeah.
There's a picnic on it.
Yeah.
I think.
So we're at 3,200 meters, just a little deeper. That's amazing.
Some more.
Can you put a waypoint? Just a
Sure.
waypoint
Yeah.
Noting it?
Yes, I can.
Maybe, yeah.
It looks like there's maybe a little bit more over here. And they do tend to line up and dive together. I had a really cool opportunity when I worked in the Aleutian Islands. There was a pod of senator beaked whales that would come and forage really close to the island, and I could hear them breathing and watch them diving repeatedly. And these are species that don't usually come anywhere close to land, but because they were islands, they were coming in. But they're very cooperative, foraging behavior, and they're really tight family groups. And they're not very big.
Who spotted those? That was a good find. Is that many?
Like
Yeah.
3 or 4 of those in a row. There's a couple more.
The scour marks, I think is what they're.
So if we were on the continental shelf close to shore, gray whales do that kind of behavior, but this is way too deep.
Yeah, it's pretty deep.
So do they
That's
intentionally
surprising.
hit the seafloor?
Gray whales are scooping up mud.
Yeah, I think there's a couple of papers out about it. I remember reading about it.
The beaked whales,
So we
is
know-
it intentional? I don't think so.
I don't know if it's intentional, but the Cuvier's beaked whale are out here,
That's
and
the
they
one.
do. They're some of the deeper diving, whales that can make these pits. But I think what they're doing is they're chasing their prey, and I don't know if it's intentional. We'll have to look that up.
What are they? Looks like maybe another one. I mean, their behavior, they will stay in one area for quite a long time and repeatedly dive as a group, surfacing just a little ways away, kind of all line up like they log at the surface, like maybe it doesn't help the general public, but like sperm whales do, just staying at the surface and then they all dive together in a coordinated way. And so they could kind of come down and in this similar area at slightly different angles repeatedly, which it kind of feels like we're seeing. We're seeing a number of.
Yeah, I know for the Cuvier's beaked
Just-
whale, I think that there was a theory that they were kind of lining up and tracing patterns of 3 or 4 where they kind of hit in a row. But I don't know how much of that was a postulation versus a, you know, any confirmation of it. But that would kind of imply that they're doing it purposefully. So I don't really know.
I think it is known in beaked whales in general, and there are many species of beaked whales. The just trying to think of the name of the family, the Mesopodon family. That's a family of smaller beaked whales than the Baird's. Baird's is one of the larger beaked whale species. There are many species in the world, and they're about like 3 to 4 meters in length, and it's known that they will work cooperatively, diving together and working cooperatively to hunt together. And my observations of them at the surface for hours on end, the group of 5 that would surface together and log, so just breathing at the surface, it was the same individual in the center every time. And I think one side they switched a couple of times, but the family group seemed to be very organized.
That's a better explanation than one individual going down and hitting several times. I think a bunch of them going down at once. Seems better, more plausible. Argus is
All right, is this
pretty
a good
right?
time to take a sediment core
Yeah, pretty
of the
much.
pendulum?
At this depth, how long would a disturbance on the seafloor last? It could be quite a long time, right?
Well,
Yes.
what was it? And definitely come back a couple years later, and we've seen Herc prints before. Was that earlier this year, Dan, on the meteorite dive? I think we saw.
Yeah,
Herc
we saw the footprint of the ROV from the year before.
Oh,
We've come down and we've seen footprints of other ROVs too. If it's a
That was a
popular
pretty-
site.
that was a muddy dive too, wasn't it? The meteorite
Yeah.
one? Yeah.
Not a lot of good visibility. But
Well, what a cool thing to see.
yeah,
Definitely.
don't really know what else it could be.
I'm pretty sure that's what these are.
Yeah.
Looks like someone took a shovel and
Yeah.
like just scooped it out and placed it
I wonder
right
how
in
they
that one
really
pile.
figured that out without observing it. What are you? That trash?
Looks like it. Macroplastic.
Garbage bag.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, ready to play in the mud?
Yeah.
It's interesting that the beaked whales echolocate, and so it seems kind of amazing to me that they would hit the bottom unless it's just that and have it not be intentional, unless the soft bottom isn't as reflective, which I guess it probably wouldn't be. I don't know.
Yeah. You want me to bump Argus over there?
No, I think we're all right.
Okay.
Take half an hour for it to get there.
Yeah, it'll be done by the time we get.
That's why I was kind of wondering if it was intentional, because I was wondering if they dove somewhere else, you know, a few meters over, if they'd be hitting the rocks. And
That
maybe
would
they
hurt.
just don't mind hitting the sediment if they've got prey that's low to the floor.
Okay, Jake.
All right.
It's all you.
I gotta bump it out a bit, right?
Yeah.
If I was a whale and I could reach the bottom, I probably would touch it.
That good?
Yeah, a little more if you want.
Oh.
That's good.
Never know, that could be like a ectoparasite prey removal strategy by rubbing on the bottom. Just totally throwing random thoughts out there.
That seems like it could be.
You can see one of the
I just put a link in the science chat of a paper in the Atlantic of Cuvier's baked whales chasing prey down to the seafloor. They're able to detect their echolocation of the prey, and the gouge marks. They have photos of it that look very much to what we're looking at right now.
Cool.
Oh, fantastic! Thank you for that.
Cool to see.
It looks very much like that, doesn't it? Some longer and some more kind of just a short dent. Have you seen this before, or you just knew of the paper?
How do you grab these guys with the parallel jaws? You just go on the ball?
Yeah.
Yep.
See me grab them enough times, right?
I'm doing what, the first one?
Yeah,
Sure.
that one's open. You haven't taken any yet?
You want to not have that joint hard over it?
This one?
Yeah.
The wrist?
Yeah.
So it'll kind of go
wrist
up.
yaw. Yeah. You have any one hard over that limits your range of motion, then you can't stack up the pieces of tape. You can put those images in front of you if that'll help.
I think I can do it.
So, Kirsten, we have seen these gouge marks before. Last year, we saw them when we were out with Mbari, and we were doing a lot of Google searches trying to find it. And I think this paper came up. And it was either at Sur Ridge or Davidson. I'm getting it confused because we did both on that cruise. But they were in these deep depths. Not as deep as this.
Just gonna rack the camera back here so you can see it coming around. I'll show you the arm. So I would. We just take a one core here or two.
I believe it's
Just
just
one.
one.
And you can bring it around about to where the little crab is there. And then move nice and slow, and then try and get it vertical, obviously.
Yep.
But if you move too fast next to the seafloor, it won't disturb it. So easy on your wrist too, like real slow on the wrist. Just barely touch the button, like that. So now move over to the left a bit more, maybe. Yeah.
There's actually a paper out by Lee Marsh, who's the lead author, and she is a science manager that comes out on
I want
Navy Nautilus.
to zoom a bit, Steve, I guess.
It's about.
So before you go in, come up a little bit.
Whales interacting with
Yeah.
the sea.
Yeah, and then pitch down. Yeah, move a little bit slower, mate. A little bit slower.
Yep.
You're disturbing the seabed there.
Okay.
I'll swing left a little bit more. Okay, nice and slow move.
Yeah, it's in that paper that they talk about some of the patterns that they believe were
Oh,
done by singular whales.
There's a vehicle moving.
I think you're
Yeah.
getting yanked a bit, so I will come over a couple.
yeah, I think that's
I'll
what it
come
is.
up. I'll come up.
Relocate. It's pretty much yanking you backwards, I think.
Yeah, shouldn't have done that.
Crash bag.
You want to pick that up?
Would have been a close sample for some microplastics coming off the macro.
So really interesting to note here. So Cuvier's beaked whale is the holds the mammalian record for deepest dive in the world at 2,992 meters. So this is, we
Deeper.
are currently deeper than that. So if there was a way for us to prove that this was done by a Cuvier's beaked whale, we would also be rewriting the depth record.
Yeah.
And
So
for beaked whales, we certainly don't know very much. So it
So-
would not be shocking to me.
Yeah, in this paper, the Lee Marsh paper, I'm just reading it. They have some imagery from 4,100 meters of these depressions. And,
Oh.
Wow.
some of them, they're in the Pacific.
You want
I'm trying
to
figure
touch
out
that
where.
box
It's
close while I'm moving?
Royal Society paper,
Close it all the way.
2018, Lee Marsh, in case you're. Maximum depth of 4258 in the recent geological past. Larry and Clipper.
Thanks, we're not the deepest.
I don't know if it would
The
work.
longest.
I don't know if it would work like this, but could we, if you did a core sample in the depression, could you look for eDNA from the whales?
Smart theory. I don't know how long that persists, though, that type of organic matter.
Persists
maybe
a
only
long
a few
time on
days.
Hercules.
Just a few days, you thought?
Yeah. It would have to leave a bone behind or something for us to track it. Or we need to put a camera down for a long-term camera just to see when they come down.
Yeah.
Good thinking, though.
Well, Dan, I don't know how you did that with all the cameras like this, because I was very confused.
Spinning or pirouetting
Yeah.
in the dust storm.
I just lost it. I was like,
I don't know why it
oh, he knows what he's doing.
moved. I thought it should have been still swinging in.
Yeah.
Weird.
I think it's because we went northwards a bit. Started it.
So just beyond the sediment collector, there's a
Okay.
big sea urchin that's called
Try again.
Tromicosoma. We haven't seen that yet.
Well, having studied whales a lot longer than I have studied any deep sea organisms, that is a very cool thing to see. It kind of brings
Don't
my
flick it.
worlds
Just
together.
gently, gently. It will rotate slowly.
Yeah, it's pretty cool to see that.
And do you move down with like the shoulder joint, or how do you?
Yep. And you got to move all of them to keep what you want it do is keep the
vertical as much as possible.
Keep the tube vertical the whole time. So you're pitching up as you're coming down on your shoulder. So, don't look at the arm. Look at the tube.
Oh.
And once you commit, you kind of got to go for it.
Seems like it doesn't want to go anymore.
Yeah, just give it a general
It may be
constant
shallow.
pressure.
Okay.
It'll go they'll go in, and then you'll get some resistance. There's like the clay layer about that far in, but if you just keep some jam on it, they'll often go through. I just keep applying a little pressure. If you see the camera move, then you're putting too much, and ROV's coming up. You put a little more on it so you just see the camera move. It's still going. And careful, sometimes it'll punch through and you'll have to get off it, otherwise you'll bury it. And the top of the sample will come up through the tube. You might get just a little more there. Yeah, that's good. That's good. I'll start coming back the other way. That seems to stick. So now you want to move nice and slow and try and keep it vertical the whole way around.
Okay.
Not to disturb the top sample there. Oh. Then at that point, I move only the azimuth until you get it in the next camera view. You move away from the box a little, I'll open it for you.
Okay.
What's up, fish?
You'll probably have to come down on the shoulder a little and then out on the elbow. So if you move away from the box,
Yep.
and bring see how the shoulder's all the way up?
Yep. Shoulder out.
And then you'll have to you can't see the elbow, but you'll have to bring it out a little. And that should bring the core tube up. Freeze for a second, Jake?
Yeah.
Is it frozen?
Yeah, it's frozen.
Well, let me see for a second. What do we got going on here? Making it worse.
I gotta somehow get my elbow joint up.
Let's get you close. So I'm not even looking at the arm. I'm looking at the core
The
tube.
tube. Yeah.
Okay, here you go. You're in the neighborhood now.
All I gotta do is mess it up.
For me, if I'm looking at what I'm holding and I want to make it go one way or another, I don't really think about it. I just move till it goes in that direction, and then yeah, that's sweet. At that point, this point, you can let go of it, and it will just drop in there slowly. Sweet. And give it a little love tap on the top to seat it.
Taylor, what was the
Sample 29.
29?
Little dust devil forming.
Can't get there from here.
Thanks, everybody. That's great. So that will be used for microplastics, that sediment core.
There we go.
Beautiful. Okay. Oh. Don't stab yourself.
That sea urchin,
Yeah.
that sea urchin straight ahead is a Tromicosoma, and the test is very flabby, and it fills itself with water. So it's quite surprising when you bring it up, it sort of just melts in your hand.
Ah.
Should do us. Oh, you can swing it left just a little. That's poking out there. Should do, thanks.
Okay.
Want to zoom on that guy, Steve, while we're sitting here before we take off?
In cushion.
Did we get any stills of the grooves, or is that just video?